that Joe Biden's bid to run for the presidency again in 2024 has hit a major roadblock. Inconvenient questions have now been raised about his family's business interests. The allegations are that he used his influence to peddle money from foreign entities, including from countries such as China and Romania. And this happened, we must make it clear for our viewers, during his tenure as the vice president under Barack Obama. So the question is Joe Biden guilty of having used his influence to promote his own family's business interests? Well, the House Oversight Committee has in fact made some pretty alarming revelations. Now take a look at this memorandum. It says that Biden's, along with their associates, managed to rake in at least about $10 million in terms of foreign currency. You heard it right, $10 million. So how did the Bidens get away with that? Through a meticulously plotted plan by creating a complicated web of more than 20 shell companies. 16 of them were limited liability companies, and they were in fact formed when Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States of America, and they were handled by Joe Biden's associates. Now, what was the purpose of these companies? Well, the purpose was simple. It was to hide the source of cash, to disguise the illicit, if not illegal payments, and nothing else. Now, foreign money was allowed to freely flow into these firms, and later this money rolled into the different bank accounts to land into the wallets and purses of the Bidens in the end. So why all this hard work to cover up the source of the money? Well, you see, it's a sort of financial gymnastics. All the complicated transactions were meant to evade scrutiny, as in to hide the actual source of funds and to downplay the dollars that were received by the Bidens. The Republican-led committee claims at least 9 Biden family members received these payments, namely Joe Biden's son Hunter and his wife Melissa Cohen. Even Hunter's ex-wife Kathleen Bulle reportedly benefited from the cash. And Joe Biden's brother James and wife Sarah Biden were also involved. And then there is his daughter-in-law Hallie Biden. 3 of Hunter and James's children also received the money, but their names haven't been disclosed. You see, Biden's family at this moment appears to be knee-deep in corruption charges, and it is not us who's saying this. The incriminating evidence, in fact, comes from the thousands of subpoenaed bank records and wire transfers and electronic transactions. These transfers were in fact flagged in more than 170 suspicious activity reports, and they were sent to the criminal division at the Treasury Department by the banks. The Biden administration refused to cough up these records until at least the committee recently forced its hand. And let me tell you that there are still more documents that need to be examined. The Biden profiteering could very well exceed the $10 million that has already been tracked in various accounts. And no matter how much the US preaches anti-corruption to the rest of the world, the fact is corruption remains endemic in the top echelons of power in Washington. And the Bidens have taken it to some dizzying heights. Around $3 million reportedly came from a corrupt Romanian businessman. And at quite an ironic time, as the vice president in Obama's office, Biden was paying lip service for cleaning up corruption in Romania. He had lectured the European nations on anti-corruption practices and policies. He said, and I should quote him here, "Corruption is a cancer that eats away at a citizen's faith in democracy." Only months later, his son and family collected illicit money from Romania. And it wasn't just Romania either. Transactions, in fact, also came in from China. But Joe Biden has till this day denied it, despite the bank records proving otherwise. What is this, if not the height of hypocrisy? The United States pretends to act like the torchbearer of transparency. It is always preaching about anti-corruption policies. It is quick to slap sanctions on countries at the very first hint of wrongdoing. But in the meanwhile, the sitting American president at this moment is having to answer some really inconvenient questions about his family's business dealings, especially at a time when Joe Biden had been the vice president of the United States of America. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.